An Australia without rugby league is not Australia. Rugby league has been a fabric of our society for hundreds of years. It's people's escape, it's people's relaxation, and we need to do everything in order to continue that great tradition of rugby league.
It has been those Australians who have worked hard every day. They have their dreams, they have their aspirations. These are the quiet Australians who have won a great victory tonight.
You know, hearing our beloved Prime Minister, there's something about the Mount Kilimanjaro speech in that, isn't there? I don't know who copped who. Did Trent Robinson rip it off ScoMo, or did ScoMo rip it off Trent? The big question, Dennis, Kris.
Well, to me, Stephen, the words that Trent Robinson gave the boys doing the Mark Hughes Brain Cancer Foundation climb of Kilimanjaro.
There's the top of the mountain.
Yeah. Have been lifted word for word by Scott Morrison in his victory speech.
Martin Luther King original.
100%.
Yes.
You know, I actually I'm watching the history of hip hop evolution.
Oh, yes, not the Baz Luhrmann version.
And Ice-T admits that 6 in the Morning, which basically was seen as the genesis of gangster rap in LA, was a direct lift from Schoolie D in Philadelphia. So if you're going to borrow from the best. So I don't criticise Morrison for copying Robbo, because is there any better or more humble man than Trent Robinson in rugby league right now?
Did he go to Harvard, is all I can ask you?
Well, no, I don't think he did, but he'd like
Not
to.
Not even Yale. Look, we'd like to tackle the big things here, Kris. Post-game celebration. You know, we remember when Piggy Riddell went and jumped the fence.
The post-try celebration.
Clapped
I
himself.
think that was the greatest of all time.
That was the greatest of all time. You know, there was the Blacklock and the Mundine double porpoise turn together in time and sync. I don't quite think slapping each other's backs and like a bunch of chuckleheads is the flavour of the month this year. Can you pull that apart? What's happened on the weekend? Isaac Luke and company.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that the post-try celebration, the post-victory celebration, is a way of rubbing it in. It's a way of celebrating.
That is right.
When you've got something. I recall the Raiders in the heyday of 2004, 2005, when they were really a powerhouse.
Really a powerhouse, were they? Yeah.
Well, they were beating the Dragons when they started the hoodoo over the Dragons. So they'd beat the Dragons repeatedly, and they'd do There was one where Mark McClendon got the ball and rolled it, and they all stood like 10 pins, and then.
Yeah. Hang on,
that was post-try in a victory. So it's fine to celebrate post-try, post-victory.
Absolutely.
Was that before or after the Brian Fletcher grenade incident that cost New South Wales 10 years of Origin success?
It was before.
Well, how about that? Canberra Pioneers.
You're touching upon the fact that hate Schadenfreude, rubbing an opponent's nose in their loss is the way to go.
Oh, yes.
But when you lose and you smile, that goes against the grain of rugby league's fabric.
Yeah, well, see, I think there's a certain element where if you lose and you know the teammates, you understand they got bragging rights, like, yeah, you got me this time, okay. There's kind of that. But there's not a woohoo!
No.
There's not a with the boys, hey, how good was that, eh?
But hasn't this been a growing trend?
Did I tell you, on the way to the stadium tonight, bumped into a bloke. Like that, no.
But this notion that all the older, legends of league have said, you don't go backslapping and smiling and chumming it up after the game on television because the fans hate it. True.
Well, they say that you don't laugh until you get in the dressing rooms. Then you just, we've done it again.
Cameras in the dressing room.
It's absolutely fine.
Sacred space, Kris.
And so, exactly, the sacred site that is the dressing room. So the coaches hate them laughing on the field, but they're pretty happy back in the... No, that doesn't sound right, does it? I mean, is there a song that says, cry a la Corey Horsburgh, and you cry alone?
Yeah.
smile and the world smiles with you, or no, you just lose?
Sammy Davis Jr., was it?
No. And I can tell you, there is an epic being worked on right now, an epic love song about Corey Horsburgh and those tears, because he did not cry alone. I can tell you now. I was in tears as well. I was moved to tears. And I stand with Corey, hence I'm wearing the Corey wig.
Oh, I hadn't noticed, Dennis. I just thought it was a new look for you.
The Firebrand.
The Firebrand.
The Firebrand.
God.
Now, he did what many other people in many other codes have been penalised for. They've lost buckets of money. It's the bird, the finger, correct?
Double bird.
Double bird. He did the double, did he?
Gave them both.
Yeah. And he gave it to the fans of Parramatta who had just beaten His team.
No, they
Your team.
hadn't beaten. So it was only the first half.
Oh, he's a firebrand.
He injured his foot. He's injured his foot
Okay.
in a tackle. He was angry. He
I
wanted
wish
to
I'd
punch
seen
someone.
that game.
He just wanted to punch someone. He was. This is what the sports scientists.
Ryan Madison, for example.
The sports. Well, they'd been targeting him. They knew he was a firebrand. So all game they thought the key to Canberra. If we can beat Corey Horsburgh, we can beat Canberra.
Yeah.
So they were at him. They were
It's
at
like
him. They were
Latrell
at him.
Mitchell has the same.
And there's
views.
this
Loose
thing.
cannon.
Loose
There's
cannon.
No, it's not that he's a loose cannon. He's
Oh.
such a powerhouse in the team. He's such a cornerstone.
But
of
he
the
goes
team.
off. You say he must go off.
Well, he hasn't yet.
He's not a
And he-
firebrand,
and
he's a
actually-
firecracker.
He's actually a marvellous sportsman. This is a boy
Is
who,
he-
in the under 16s, he was playing for the
Is
Brisbane.
he a Tom Thumb or is he?
Oh no, he's a
Double
thunder.
bunger.
He's a thunder, which is above the double bunger. This is a boy
I like
who.
the ones that they shoot up and then the little parachute.
Yeah, it's not a
the
catcher
parachute.
wheel.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no.
He's
So-
beyond that. So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
played when he was 16. He was playing he was in the Brisbane Lions Academy. This is his other archaic sport from Victoria you might not have heard of.
Don't know what you're
So he
talking
was
about.
playing that, played the grand final, and then drove up the sunny coast to play in the Brisbane North League grand final. And the coach said, "Gee, Corey seems a bit tired today." It's because he's just won another grand final in another coach. So
He did not.
He did. No,
did not.
he did. He's an amazing.
That's a movie
sportsman.
in itself.
His hands are amazing. I was watching him warm up on
Just
Saturday.
tell me that story. Just give me that.
Can I just give it a title? Firebrand.
Firebrand.
The Corey Horsburgh
The
story.
firebrand.
Corey has magnificent hands, and I think Ricky's actually said to him,
Well, we saw them.
Magnificent hands and butcher's feet.
well, he's got a broken foot. That's the thing.
Broken foot.
And he was so angry. There's this thing called the inverted U in sports science, where you have performance and you have arousal. And when your arousal goes up, your performance goes up. But if your arousal gets to a certain point, your performance goes down.
Mundine,
Like
you
Corey-
said it exactly. No sex before a fight.
But this
Is that the
is
Kinsey
about
report or something?
all over arousal. Corey was a bit too aroused, and when his foot was broken, his arousal levels
He's a
went through the
firebrand,
roof,
isn't
and
he?
he wanted a piece. He didn't care who.
Who, right.
He just wanted to punch. He wanted to bash someone.
So there are a couple of things. First of all, the term firebrand is used too loosely these days.
For rangers, right?
Well, Jack Hetherington.
That's what it was, right?
Jack Hetherington has just been offered on loan for 4 weeks to the beleaguered New Zealand Warriors, and he was described in the paper today as a firebrand. And I think
What colour's his
I
hair?
think it's jet black.
Oh no, that's not a firebrand.
Second
Oh,
thing,
but, Chris, terms do get used lightly. I read that what's her name? Trioli, Virginia Trioli,
Yes.
was firing up last night against Paul Fletcher, the Minister for Arts.
yes.
I mean, that's a bit loose, isn't it? Stretching it a bit. Wish I fired up.
I know Paul Fletcher, and like it's hard to get him fired up. So she was doing her
yes.
best. You know.
He is a coldfish, that one. Sorry, I want to get back to, just give me a little walkthrough again of the day that he won 2 competitions or played 2 grand finals in one day.
Under 16s, he was in the Brisbane Lions Academy. So he was an up and coming
Based
AFL
in?
player, based in Brisbane. He was in the
Brisbane.
sunny coast, so
Right.
he's playing in Brisbane and the Brisbane North League competition.
Right, okay.
Won the AFL grand final in the morning. Obviously, take the easy one first. Yeah. Then played the league.
Yes.
Played the league grand final in the afternoon.
No way.
The coach commented to his dad, the former boxer.
And did he win?
Yeah, won them both.
Won 'em both?
Won them both. There was this amazing thing watching them warm up.
Nobody else has done
where
that,
him and-
surely.
No,
I bet
no
nobody
one
else-
in Wagga. No one in Wagga. Like Steve Gearon would never play
Anywhere.
AFL. And no, absolutely
Cameron
not.
Smith will have done it. Well, at
Well,
least
no, that's the thing. He's about to switch.
At
He's
least-
about to start playing for Hawthorn, and Hawthorn are absolute duds.
And Cricket Australia?
yeah. At least-
well, the last one, come on, everyone knows it. The last one that's played state cricket and first grade rugby league, the Trout.
Oh, Graham Hughes.
Yeah,
And
the last one.
can I just simply say,
Sammy Williams, of course, plays cricket. Sammy's quite a cricketer. Jared Croker from the Raiders plays local cricket, but he's not allowed to because of his contract. So people go, "Oh, Jared Croker, you playing cricket?" Yeah, don't tell anyone. Hey.
was there anyone finer than Ray Lindwall?
Ooh,
Test firebrand and St George Rugby League first grade player. Just very quickly on Cameron Smith and cricket. Love following him on Twitter. Like he'll have this sort of quality work. Today's Boxing Day. Cricket's on.
That's it?
this is almost like the life and times of Gus Gould.
That's right.
Okay, so I take it that if I do a little feel the temperature, we all applaud Corey Horsburgh and his double finger at the fans, even though they were winning or losing at the time. Doesn't matter.
At the time, they might have been winning,
There
actually.
you go. So he really just wanted to give it to somebody
Oh yeah, he was angry. His main anger was
that he was out.
he knew he had an injury which was
Yeah,
bad,
yeah.
and he knew he was going to go.
Right.
And they were laughing at him, and he's like, those weren't tears of oh boo hoo, oh sad me. They were tears of I want to tear something. I want to put sauce on
Right.
Ryan
He's a
Madison.
winner.
Slap him in
Yeah,
between two
yeah.
slices of bread and gobble him up.
So
That's what he
you're
wanted.
He's also a crybaby. Let's not forget about that.
Right.
And secondly,
I would love to see some. I want to see the next person to go, you're the crybaby. I want to see that happen.
Corey, crybaby. And secondly, there's a lot of conjecture about who was he giving the double bird to, because if you were out at Bank West and I wasn't,
Was it a 14-year-old girl?
no, it was the cardboard. it was the cardboard
What are you
cutouts.
saying because he's an AFL player? That's
It
what
was the cardboard cutouts, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd seen it was Blake Ferguson's go the week before, where he, selfishly kicked the Bulldogs player with the ball in the head. And Horsburgh's gone the cardboard cutouts, but Vince Sereni went on record last night and said he was one of the very few corporates, because he would be a corporate, wouldn't
course
he?
he is.
Oh, he
Yeah.
was. I saw Vince there.
Who was
I've seen it, but I don't believe it.
yeah, right. Who was giving it to Corey? So he was
Yeah.
actually responding
So it's to Vince.
to Vince and the cutouts.
Directly to Vince.
Well, yeah, remember your roots, son. Hey,
Yeah.
you were once down the
And
front
there was,
here.
this is the other thing that you wouldn't have heard of. This is a thing called the jumpery.
The
And this is
jumpery.
where in the AFL for years you haven't been able to punch.
What is
long
going on
before.
with you, Dennis?
I love
Check-
Corey.
check your temperature.
And this is what you do is when you're having a little push and shove, you grab them.
Oh, yeah, we've seen
by
that.
the collar.
I said that in the news, I think, on the highlights.
But what the whole purpose of that is to actually get the knuckle onto the chin.
Right, accidentally.
And he got one on Ryan Madison. So Ryan Madison's pushed him down. He's grabbed the jumper and he's gone bang. And he's actually got one on him. It was
Yep.
beautiful.
You could tell the motion was intent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Much like Brett Morris's try, the double movement, intent to score.
That wasn't momentum. That was clear. And there was,
I digress.
there
I'm
was-
sorry.
We're looking for the word
Haven't
promotion.
we got the
aren't you?
losers bleat section coming up a little
We'll
bit
go-
later,
yeah,
Stephen?
yeah. So I think we all agree that we do love a double finger salute.
Terrific.
Well, I love a
During
bit
a
of passion. To me, there's no difference between the double finger salute and Adam Fanua-Blake going "Wah" at the Raiders crowd when they won last year. Like it's exactly
Except
the same.
Corey was the double finger, and he was going weren't.
He's just doing both.
Exactly.
So why not? He's
Didn't McGuinness
raised-
put it on you guys?
Mick Ennis gave us the Viking clap.
Yeah.
And, oh no, but I wasn't being disrespectful. You know, I was just clapping our fans. No,
Tell
you
the
weren't.
truth.
Own it, Michael.
Own it, yeah. Okay, as
It's
opposed to
pantomime.
the Brisbane losing and just slapping each other's backs and the opposition, chucklehead stuff. And Isaac Luke took great offence from Sam Burgess saying, "You know me, Sam. You know my character." He says, "I'm not some Johnny come lately to Brisbane. I don't know the story. Don't feel the pain that they're going through."
But he is a Johnny come lately to
Absolutely.
Brisbane.
He's
This is
been
like
what,
second game.
second team this year, isn't it?
On
Third team in 2 years.
Terry Campese's birthday in 2013, he shaved his head, and the Raiders played the Storm and had the worst loss in the club's history. On the field that day were Croker, current captain, Josh Papali, best prop in the league, and Jackie Boy Whiten. Now, I can tell you that those three players, the day that the club had its biggest loss, they didn't sit there and go, "Hey, how about that, boys?" They were on the ground.
Filthy.
They were in the room of mirrors on the
yeah.
ground going,
You could see
how,
fumes coming off them.
How could this happen?
At their
They weren't
ears.
celebrating. They weren't going,
No,
this
no,
is
no.
whatever, we're professionals. They
So
were
what
like,
does it mean
"This,
to you if
I
you're happy after a
hate
game
this."
of loss after how many games so far? 4 or 5 losses?
5 in a row.
5 in a row.
5 in a row.
What does it mean to you?
Well, it means you're awful.
It means
Means
you're a
awful, yeah.
mercenary. It means you're a heartless,
Yeah.
spineless mercenary.
And that's
you
why the
have no
membership gets
belief
torn
in
up,
rugby.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when the effigies of the Broncos jerseys get burnt.
So
Yep.
That's when
So-
6,000 people turn up. The club, which is supposed to have the biggest following,
Yeah.
and they're allowed to have 10,000 people at the 40,000 seat Lang Park.
What'd they get?
They got 6. They didn't sell
And
out.
tell me,
And a
secretly,
half.
is Kevy liking this?
he's loving this.
Loving this?
Loving-
Kevy's loving this?
Kevy Walters is absolutely.
Thanks for reminding us, by the way, that there was another Campese. But if we just go through those names again, Croker,
Croker, captain,
Papali,
Whiten.
Jackie Boy Whiten.
Yeah, who are still playing. They're the core of
and
the
you're
team.
saying that they formed a bond about how badly they felt about the loss
Oh yes,
and how angry they were, and they cemented there the legacy that has secured 0 premierships since that
that's the
time.
one.
Oh,
That's
a bit
exactly
low,
it.
Chris.
Yes,
What a beautiful story.
But boy,
But
how
you can't make a
beautiful-
movie of that. You can make a movie about
how
Corey.
beautiful are the
You can't
last-
make about 3 brothers come together to not win.
Do you know what we did?
How beautiful has it been watching them beat Melbourne the last 3 times though?
Can you imagine though that they do 2 cuts of the movie and they would film last year's grand final, and for the general release, Roosters would win, but just within the ACT, Cummins changes the call,
The director's cut.
and they're all on shoulders. You know.
Ricky will be there with the scissors on the celluloid.
So we're not
Trying to
alone.
get
I mean,
in.
I
I
think
love you, Ricky.
Gal, Sterlo, Fittler,
Blocker.
Blocker, they're all against Burgess. They all hate that stuff, don't
They're
they?
all
Which
saying,
one? All of
Blocker,
them?
Blocker
All
was
of them.
saying. Blocker
And their
was saying
chicken
he loves
friends.
Corey. Blocker was just loving
Kenny's
Corey.
favourite player now.
Oh, yeah, no,
absolutely.
we're talking about...
Sign him for life.
We're talking about Isaac Luke and
Yeah,
company.
they were saying they hate that and they love Corey. And I'm saying right now, Ricky, Don, sign Corey for life.
Yeah. Brings us to Anthony Seibold, the coach. Now, he was just gold dust, wasn't he, when he was at South? I mean, man, he's a little bit like Trent Robinson. When you lose, everyone wants to run. They don't want to know you, do they? When you're winning, everyone thinks you're just untouchable.
But the thing is, you were talking about winning premierships.
Yeah, he didn't win a thing.
Did Seibold win a premiership?
No. It was all smoke and mirrors.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Who won the premiership?
Yeah, Madge.
It was Madge, the
Madge.
Canberra boy, the boy from Sneddies, the Raiders, the
shut up,
former
Dennis.
Raider, Madge Maguire.
Everybody's
Bellamy
on
accolade.
Canberra.
And Seibold, I mean, he's a facts and figures guy, isn't he?
And he's not from Canberra.
That's right.
What are his technology tricks? It's not whiteboard.
No, he has one.
Has he got an overhead projector?
He has one of those
Implanted iPad, isn't it?
touchscreen. Yeah, it's actually you open up that
under your skin.
You open up that big beige jacket.
Yeah, it's in
and
there.
you'll find that screen.
And they have a desk like this which has holograms above it, and he sits there on his touchpad, Star Trek
So
style. And
it's been said that his syndrome, or the reason he's coming unstuck, is because he thinks he's the smartest man in the room.
Correct.
Went to Harvard.
Went to Harvard.
What did he study at Harvard, Chris?
I think he paid for,
What's the
paid for one of
degrees
those,
he got?
one of those
Weekenders.
weekend intense.
Because we did a bit of research, didn't we?
Yeah, Anthony Robbins style courses.
Bill Gates, Harvard. Barack Obama. Zuckerberg. Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman.
That surprised me.
Terrific as
But
Jane
Matt
Foster in
Damon,
Thor.
he's the smartest man in the world.
Well,
You can tell by his head.
'cause
Like
he
Tom
is.
Hanks.
Because he's an
big
head.
forehead,
Yeah.
big forehead, yeah.
So Seibold's in great company, and he's probably been deluding himself that he is the smartest man in the room.
When he went and presented to the Broncos when they're looking to replace Wayne, and Kevin Walters comes in and says, "I have nothing to offer you but myself." And Mr. Burns said, "I specifically said no geeks." But
And he also said, "How many premierships have I won?"
yeah, that's right.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah,
Kevy,
that
and
is-
Kevy,
my record
Kevy's got
speaks for
a
itself.
few.
And based on some advice from some cronies, he had like 3 or 4 PowerPoints, which they were actually transparency, Ricky Stewart style. He put on the overhead projector, threw
Just
them up.
put the light on.
Yeah, 6 premierships.
And how's he going with State of Origin?
Queenslander, well, he was probably in the positive side of the ledger at that
Yeah,
particular
okay.
point. I think he's 1-1, something like
Yeah,
that.
it's looking,
Right.
looking grim.
Seibold's not there for the first 10 minutes. It's like James Brown,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
They roll in the 3-dimensional presentation. There's water spouts,
Dolphins and
unicorns,
and rainbows and dancing girls.
and then there's a holographic image of Seibold, and then somehow magically through a smoke bomb emerges the real thing.
Yes.
And he says,
Prince did that at the Opera
"Where do I
House.
sign?"
Through
Yeah.
purple smoke.
Yeah, where do I sign? And
And he probably had references at the bottom from Zuckerberg,
Zuckerberg, Barack
Gates,
Obama,
Obama,
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman, Matt Damon.
And let's face it, they're not that sharp at Red Hill. They go, "Oh, I like this."
yeah.
No,
Because
Matt
this-
Damon loves to lead.
So is it more like Skull and Bones was the Yale University secret society, or was it more stonecutters?
Yeah.
His end was stonecutters.
Yeah, for a bit of Freemasonry going on. And basically the Queenslanders go, "You know what? This reminds me of Expo 88.
Where's Christopher Skates when you need him?
And the whole House of Cards has collapsed.
Yeah.
And there's talk today of him being partnered with Stephen Carney, recently deposed coach of the New Zealand Warriors.
What a happy camp that'd be.
So you can see what losing's really like.
Yes.
And he's been told to have more fun.
Right.
And this is,
You can't tell a guy with an iPad implanted in his chest to have more fun.
the secret to coaching is 2 things. It's having fun. So Brad Arthur, sitting astride the top of the premiership table with Parramatta right now, says, "I've learned to have more fun." The other day, Mitch Moses and Gutho sent me 23 text messages at 3 o'clock in the morning. Now he's asleep, but he's allowing it to happen. Normally would have blown up the
What's
lights.
interesting is it was 23, not a whole bunch of.
Yeah.
It
And
was
the phone is-
23
and
when
the-
he was counting.
And the phone is still alive to tell a story, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So he's having fun. And the other thing is trying. Now, Sticky right now says
Trying?
that your boys
Trying.
are trying too hard.
They're
The
trying too
Raiders
hard.
are trying
This-
too hard.
Again, we come back. Arousal,
Around the performance.
and they're
And the
trying
curve.
too hard. They're on the wrong
It's
side
the
of the
horseshoe.
curve.
Yeah.
If they're back here, you need to find
But
that.
how do you know
plateau.
when you're trying too hard? Just what
Because you want to bash someone.
I tell you, right now in the performance, I am right near that x-axis.
right at that point to tip it over?
Brisbane Broncos, not trying hard enough.
Not trying hard.
They haven't climbed.
Sydney Roosters,
Yeah.
trying the right amount.
They
It's, just,
are-
it's,
yeah.
it's
they
like
are-
Little Red Riding Hood, isn't it? In
They
the
are
porridge.
parked.
Yeah.
They are parked on top of that U.
Sitting.
Robbo's has got them parked there.
Yeah.
Robbo didn't go to Harvard, but he speaks 6 languages.
Let's have a
It's
break.
Good enough
but
for me.
They were rattled the other night, though.
Losers Bleak coming up soon.
It's kind of comedy I can roll out, big boy.
Oh, he's on fire. He's got all the gags.
Welcome back to Fire Up, and I think we're pretty fired up. I think we've reached the top of the curve, performance versus arousal.
Going a
we haven't
little
quite
bit
gone
over.
over the top just yet. We're going to hang in there, boys. Hang in there.
That's right.
Look, I want to bring the tone down a little bit and bring in an element of danger and sulphur and just not rugby league spirit at all. And that is a man called Cameron Smith.
A man, you say.
Not
Loosely, I say.
not Cameron.
Smith. That's right. What's that smell? That's right. Now you, ooh, Cameron Smith. Now there are areas that he obviously believes that he's sort of carrying some sort of authority, I guess. You know, when a team loses and a team loses its coach and a team has left its family and its kiddies and its grandmothers and its brothers and sisters so tightly bound, as we knew last week from Patrick Skeen with the Pacifica and the Maoris and etc. and how much it meant to them and the sacrifice they made like the Anzacs did, and they've lost against Melbourne of all damn teams. And what does Cameron Smith do?
Well, he does what Smith always does. Like, you know how in this modern world through engagement, social media, ... a lot of people in the public eye have become like product ambassadors?
Yes.
So Smith's cut a few deals, and his mind, he's just dropped the name of the product off and he's just ambassador.
Right.
So Smith...
Just ambassador.
That's right.
Ambassador Smith.
That's right. Ambassador Smith.
For everything.
And he just surveys the landscape and he goes, ostensibly,
Yeah.
because he's always very image conscious, because he's got a few testimonials that he's got to get going post-COVID.
Doesn't like a camera behind him, for instance.
But Chris, before you go, I think he's got I wouldn't call it a human flaw. He's got a flaw, given that he's not terribly human, that he tries to imagine what an ambassador would do before
Correct.
he does something.
That's right.
Carry on.
Right. And so he ostensibly says, what will the people be thinking about as we pump the Warriors 50 points to 6?
Smash them at their lowest ebb ever. Stephen Kearney's out there crying, beaten.
Well, Stephen
Forlorn
Kearney's gone.
gone.
Poor Todd Payton, or
Todd.
as I like to refer to him, Ming the Merciless.
Well, he wasn't the other night, was he?
Yeah. And to sort of heap humiliation upon humiliation,
Yes.
the Warriors have had to travel to Netstrata Cogra Jubilee and lose at that mud heap. I mean, it's
Cow paddock.
it's not good.
It's got beautiful views of Botany Bay,
Right,
Chris.
Yeah, and everyone's been saying.
In the rich seats.
In the really top end.
Do you remember the height of the pandemic when we were shut down as we were heading towards resumption day, May 28, and everyone said the Warriors will be my second favourite team? Well,
All year long. How long did that last?
Yeah. I think they sold 6 extra memberships.
I was one.
Yeah, right.
I got the membership. I even bought a couple of training jerseys.
Yeah,
Good on you.
And well, you might have been there. Were you there?
And what's it done?
Were you at the game?
No.
Yeah, right.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was.
Where's your
somewhere else.
loyalty? And so Smith's gone. Everyone will recognise that the Warriors are hurting. They're away from their family, their loved ones, and they're hopeless. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab Bellyache and I'm going to grab Ryan Hoffman for ballast.
Both humans.
Yes.
Ryan Hoffman, former Warrior.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
And of course, Bellyache.
Commiserate.
Yeah, Bellyache.
Support.
Bellyache also looking for a last kicker in his contract of several $1 million, maybe to jump ship from Melbourne. And we're going to go in and we're going to turn the sound off. Why? Because the dressing room is a
Sacred
place.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
And it looks like, from what we can see, is that we want to say, as the Melbourne Storm, me as the ambassador for the NRL, for the Australian community, and
For Rugby League.
all quiet Australians.
Yeah.
Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your service.
Yep.
I'm not buying it.
Now, because you know what they say, the definition of a psychopath or even a sociopath is lack of empathy. They don't feel another person's pain. Now, there was Smith devising a way in a disingenuous way to sort of show and express empathy.
Oh no, I disagree. He understands pain. Pain is his currency.
right?
And we were discussing before how post-match celebrations, that rolling the 10 pin and doing that was to
Yes.
rub it in the noses. He's gone.
Yes.
I see your post-try celebration. I'm going to one up to condescension.
Condescension
I'm gonna
to a
one
hot
up
new level.
To come in and say, here I am, the great Cam
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
No one has had 400 games. Thank you for allowing
Well,
me
Chris-
to win. To
Listen,
smash us.
We've discussed this before on Fire Up in the bigger picture, the bigger battle. When I think that the fallen angel, the archangel, landed and became the devil. In the big picture, the Bible, God's up there. You know, the Garden of Eden was used as a test, and the test mankind failed.
Something about an apple.
Oh, it's something about an apple and a snake.
Snake.
You know. But I'm imagining that the devil does hold grudges.
Across the centuries.
And therefore, that's probably driven by pain.
It is.
You're right, and you can feel it.
And he does know pain.
But it's not.
And,
It's not
you're Ming the Merciless. He was sitting in
Merciless
the
is
corner.
hard to say.
You see the picture.
And he was.
How'd they look?
He was looking like he was ready to just burn Flash Gordon's body.
Yes. But the Warriors weren't happy, were they, Chris?
it was Todd Payton, the big hombre who scored in the 2005 Grand Final for the West Tigers.
Former Raider.
His first game as an NRL coach, albeit caretaker. The last thing you want is probably the winningest coach in NRL history.
Yes.
Accompanied by the greatest player that supposedly ever played the game.
Who's got a near immortal status.
That's right.
And has had so many memorials to go and it won't go.
Yeah. Plus Cameron Smith. The last thing is you want those three gentlemen to come in and say, well done, boys. Thanks for trying. I actually think Smith was actually saying, listen, I'm Cameron Smith. You made me look bad out there because that wasn't a contest. I can't get written up as a great player if you're giving me nothing.
Was there a great Anzac song? Did he attempt to sing it and the Warriors wouldn't have a bar of it?
Slice of
And
heaven.
the band played
Slice
Waltzing
of
Matilda. Is that what you're saying?
You know, one that bonds the two nations together beautifully
the
through
band,
war.
played Waltzing Matilda.
I would have thought
That
the
one.
entire True Colours album by Split Ends
Was the song
sort of
was-
was Bridge to Tasman, didn't it?
Okay.
And the second thing he would have said was, now look, I understand you guys, it's looking bleak right now. You're at the foot of the competition table. You're missing your families. New kiddies are arriving. The sacrifice is real, but you're starting to falter, and there might be some thoughts of heading home early and leaving the comp.
They might walk.
Right. And
Yeah.
so Smith said, go.
Yeah, just
Like,
go.
he said, it's clear to me,
Yeah.
just go.
Just go.
Because we're being relocated to Brisbane.
Yes.
Right? we're fulfilling Volandi's dream of getting out of the rusted-on AFL territory, and we haven't got room for you.
No.
But before you go, given that we're going to be in isolation up in the Sunshine Coast,
Can we have
recommendations on Netflix? What sort of card games did you play?
no players they want? No players there?
Can we also have, and you can see him in a photo on the
Roger.
Fire Up. on
Roger.
RTS, on the Fire
yes.
Up page.
There's
you've
some
got,
debate
Before you
about
get-
this. There's some debate about this picture
well,
as well.
you've got Bellyache pontificating. Todd Payton smouldering, a la Flash Gordon, Ming the Merciless. And you got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck with his undivided attention
look on his
towards
face,
Bellyache.
Chris?
I thought, I wish you were
Didn't
my
you hear
coach.
he was going, Smith?
I think he was looking at him going, how dare you?
How
How dare you
dare
come to our sacred place
Yes,
after
yeah.
devastating some of the field? How dare you have the arrogance
And isn't
to
it
come
amazing
here?
that the
It
Warriors
reminded
didn't-
me of Cooper Cronk. You recall Cooper Cronk ringing up the young Newcastle half who was coming up against him that week going, hey, congratulations on getting to first
Was that
grade.
Cogger?
You're gonna-
Was it young
It was
Jack Cogger?
Jack Cogger. Congratulations. have
buy
a good
No,
day
I
here.
disagree.
Yeah. Oh,
I think
Cooper.
Roger was just going, my God, I wish I played for the Melbourne Storm, because then I'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Questions without answers.
But don't you also see what's going on here? These tectonic shifts. I mean, the Storms to Queensland,
Yeah.
the Warriors back to New Zealand, and there is no bubble to travel in allowing. That all the power is shifting as we go to air. South Australia refuses to open its borders. Victoria, basket case.
Yeah.
Palaszczuk has opened the borders to everyone
Except
Victorians, except Melbourne Storm. Why? PVL.
Right.
PVL splitting the nations apart. If any Victorian deigns to show up at a Sydney ground this weekend, they will be refused entry.
You're saying he's got political ambitions, Chris?
I am.
Yeah, you're saying that maybe the federation that came around in 1901 he's trying to undo, so to speak, perhaps even pull away some of the layers of government?
Well, if I understand politics correctly, the conservative side of politics, be they the Liberal National Party or the Republicans in the United States, they're in favour of small government. Volandis is a little bit further to the right, not like Ming the Merciless, maybe more like Genghis Khan.
Yes.
And he believes in no government.
Yeah. Where does he sit between, say, Russia and Korea? That's too fascist.
He makes Kim Jong Un
Dictatorial.
look like, no, he makes Kim Jong Un look like a liberal.
Soft. Yeah, okay.
A small L liberal even.
And do you know what I reckon? I reckon, based on his national performance and his international recognition, if there was a plebiscite tomorrow that said we abolish local, state, and federal governments,
Yeah.
and that we install Peter Volandis
Yes.
As the overlord.
Republican president.
as our overlord and
Overlord will do.
president of the Republic of Australia,
Yeah.
there wouldn't even need to be a vote.
Yeah.
The question is he actually trying to annex Victoria and say, we don't want that rubbish? Like, it's boring. We don't want that. They can have their Schmelban
Cut it
Cup.
away and move
they
it
can
out.
keep it. They can get
Yeah.
rid of it. They can ship it off to Tasmania with the AFL and Gil McLaughlin.
I-
And we'll just have the main part of Australia.
Yeah,
Right, the good part.
Because what I'm thinking, you mentioned something before, the Warriors. Now, we love alliteration. Western Warriors. How good does that sound?
Yes.
There's a lot of
Did I hear he's
Indigenous
also
history in
trying to-
Western Australia. Imagine the Western Warriors joining instead of the Western Reds.
I like it.
The Western Warriors.
good.
The
Yeah.
Sunshine Coast Storms.
And the current
Yeah,
government,
sunshine storms. That's a feat in itself.
It's beautiful.
Rainbows.
the current government's ruined the Murray-Darling Basin anyway. So just put a series of small nuclear devices along the river.
Just boom.
Boom, Victoria gone.
Did I hear
No,
though that
just
he's
don't
got
even bother.
He's got a
Just dam
secret
it. Just whack a dam there.
secret plot to get the island of Kithra and drag it down and then just attach it
and replace it.
Forget
Replace
Lord Howe,
Victoria.
just bring it in.
Well, I mean, Melbourne is famous that it's got, isn't it, after Salonika, it's got the second largest Greek population. So you
Melbourne?
Isn't it Athens?
He's got
Isn't
some
it
sort
after
of
Athens?
issue, hasn't he, about his Greek?
Salonika comes third.
I think it's his Greek roots.
Yeah, well, he possibly just wants to repurpose Victoria once they disinfect it.
Once they're all dead.
It was just
Greeks
sort of
only?
Greek recreation of Greece.
Yeah, right.
The islands and whatever. It's like
yeah.
a theme park.
Fantastic.
And that'd be a great revenue raiser.
Absolutely.
Because let's face it, NRL's got no assets.
Yeah.
And theme parks. I mean, if you've been to Dollywood,
Yeah.
the land is land.
The land is land.
V-land.
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 That's it. Come to V-land.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment here on Fire Up.
And now it's time for the latest instalment of The Life and Times of Gus Gould.
I had broken bones. I broke my ankle, broke my ribs, broke my collarbone, broke my shoulder, broke my neck, broke my jaw, broke my nose.
How many times?
A dozen. And 2 detached retinas in my right eye. Mine were broken bones. I didn't really get soft tissue injuries.
Right.
And I was pretty lucky. I had good knees. I've always had really strong knees. I never had any real knee problems, but certainly had ankle issues, broken ankle, and I had ligament issues. And then, everything was sort of fractures and cracked bones and things like that. If I was going to do it, I was going to do it properly.
And that was the latest instalment of The Life and Times of Gus Gould.
Rugby League, you magnificent beast.
Welcome back. Fire Up. Dennis Carnahan, Chris Gale, myself, Stephen Ferris. And what is that noise I hear? Now, we found out from the man who goes to the games himself before we get to go next week, Chris.
We're going this Saturday.
We're off to the
He
footy.
has been, of course. He
Tigers
has been.
versus
yeah.
Panthers.
Okay.
Yeah.
The set
cats. Big
restart is actually, we know where it came from, but it's not one of the Apple copyright sounds. It's a particular sound. Dennis, can you reveal this?
It's an oven bell.
An oven bell.
The NRL's official name for it. It's the oven bell. And
Yes.
that's the echo going ding.
And it was that
That gives you
created by
impression.
Brian Eno?
Possibly.
Possibly.
I think it might have been.
Does it predate
what's
him?
His name? It's
And what's the brand? Is it Cooker?
Metas?
Metas. Metas.
The
original Cooker.
So when your
The original
roaster's
Australian.
done and you're wandering around, you're watching your black and white telly, ding! And of course, the older generation do jump, don't they, when they hear that?
In
And it's-
1917,
Yeah.
Metas launched the Cooker gas oven range.
Right.
And that is the sound from an original 1917 range.
Right.
Yeah.
And it says, you're done.
All right.
It also explains, apart from being, as I said, I feel like it is, like, as Tony Visconti said in making David Bowie's Low, the Eventide harmonizer
At work.
applied to the drums fucks with the fabric of time.
Yes. Like
I-
it does in rugby league.
It's happening in rugby league because there's no connection between the bell and what's actually occurring on the field. But I'm also strangely hungry when I hear that sound.
Strangely, the smell of roast potatoes, pumpkin, cauliflower, and a good lamb roast. But you know, when it says you're done, you mean the opposing team that's copying it, right? Like the Dragons were with the Roosters the other night.
they're done.
Yeah, you're
Reset,
cooked.
Reset, restart all the time. Bang, bang, bang. You're done. You're done. Why don't they just have a voice saying, "You're done"?
What happens when the Dragons lose? Do you self-immolate? Does the dragon turn on itself and fire breathe on itself? Sort of
Oh no, we're too proud for that, Chris.
like the cover of the Rage Against the Machine.
We live in hope next week. Next week. It's always
Don't we
next
all?
week.
And who have you got next week?
We have got next week, you lot.
In Canberra.
In Canberra.
I've got to say, I am shaking my boots.
Oh, they're
This
playing
is-
in Canberra now?
Yeah, they're playing in Canberra.
Well,
They're
they can't
playing-
play it back west because it's a
Look,
Cowpaddock.
you did pretty well. 1 point. You did very well.
Very well.
I was happy. I was proud of that loss. Strange, you
Should
know.
have switched it off. You should have switched it off. You had the lead.
Had the lead, yeah. I at half time, I'm going, Jesus, 40 minutes, really? Do we have to do this?
What you needed was ding, done.
yeah.
Well, you were leading, weren't you?
12-10 at 1 point.
Ding,
Not at half time, though.
done.
Yeah, done.
Ding,
Ding, ding, ding,
Call
ding,
it.
ding, ding,
Call
ding,
it.
ding.
Pull
Yeah,
the roast
yeah.
out. She's done.
Now,
the chook is cooked.
Now, the big problem, of course, is the set restart. God, that's an awful term, isn't it?
It's a
again.
stupid restart.
Stupid, yeah. It's now faltering.
Why wouldn't they just call it a restart?
Just a restart.
Or
It's not
six, or 6 again?
Because would get confused with the resumption. The set resumption. Resumption sounds better.
So anyway, now it's playing up. It's faulty. It's not a schmeg. It's not a melee.
The button is it's a kind of a giant toadstool thing. It's
Red.
3 or 4 inches across. It's red, and
Yeah.
the person who keeps the time on the scrums, on the scrum shot clock, not the scrum clock, but it's called the shot clock, and on the line
Dropouts.
shot clock.
Shot clock, yeah.
is again called the shot clock, not the dropout clock.
Yeah.
It's the same guy that does that.
Well,
So
hang on.
this is-
What about the sin bin exit? Are they timing that these days? Aren't they meant to be timing that?
There's a timer who's it's the same person.
And,
yes.
the sin bin?
I think the sin bin's a different person who's downstairs.
I'm going back to you then, Dennis. Is the man at fault or the software at fault, the machinery?
It's the machinery, and I personally wonder whether they've actually gone to a Chinese manufacturer to get these buttons. And in fact, the Chinese government...
Chinese factories are no good.
The Chinese government's hacked in.
Oh, they've got into
and
it.
they're having a go at
Deliberate.
Volandis. They're saying... And Volandis is receiving letters.
Is that what happened?
Where's Huawei on your jersey, by the way?
I've got this is when I get upset with rugby league, I put on the Super League jersey.
How good is Super League? No sponsors? No one ever
That's it.
dived
No,
on?
that's-
Is that
no.
your self-hate, is it?
This is my
So,
my
Chris-
hair
Chris-
shirt.
I beg to differ. Sorry, Stephen. What were you going to say?
You're old enough to go back to the original Westworld. You know,
Yes.
when the robots start
Brenner.
Yul
taking
Brynner,
control and doing the
yes.
wrong thing.
Yeah.
Kojak.
We could be heading into a world of trouble like Hal, 2001, right? But Hal got defeated.
Do you think the set restart button's going to become self-aware?
I'm sorry, Manly Ruinga.
Suddenly the game's out of control.
That's what happened. It became self-aware.
I'm sorry, Manly Ruinga.
Suddenly there's
Have you
drones.
heard the one about the chicken? No.
You did not get off the tackle player quickly enough. Daisy.
Well, for the life
Jerry, are you sure you want to do that, Jerry? What are you doing, Jerry?
And then you go, Smith is talking to me.
I think it's the person. Like I don't think it's the software. As I think what the problem is, if you're going to have some aspiration to be involved in the game and you're not good enough to play,
Yeah.
you're not even good enough to referee.
Oh,
You're not even
it's
good
like
enough.
the Aaron Mullen complex, right?
You're not even good.
Just because I never played the game.
You're not even good enough to do a barely listened to podcast.
Oh, we
right?
love you, Aaron, by the way.
The last resort you've got is being the timer guy.
Yes.
Right? And the trouble is...
You're saying he's insignificant?
Well, no, what I'm saying is that when they're recruiting the person to press the button, time the shot clock, the dropouts, the scrums, whatever, they're recruiting from rugby league fans, right?
Yeah.
And rugby league fans have this distressing habit of actually watching the game, right? And so what happens is the person on the button is so engrossed with the game
Chris.
that the play moves on and they forget to press the horn.
Chris, can I tell you something? Magic round. There I am sitting at Suncorp Lang Park, you know. On the fourth day, the fan in me just kicked in. I was watching the game and someone said, aren't you supposed to be playing music now? As the DJ. I said, oh, shit, yeah. You know?
Exhibit A.
But it was a state. It was 4 days of rugby league, you know.
What you need is someone in that job who has no interest
Yeah.
in the game whatsoever.
Yeah. But
Dennis?
are they trained? Do
Well-
they instinctively know what is a reason for
You
what
don't-
happened?
No, you don't
have
have
to know.
You just have to be. Personally, I don't know why it's not actually attached to the vocal cords of the referee.
And they-
And
electricity?
when they hear set restart, it just triggers the horn.
A volt.
The thing is,
Set restart.
the trick is, he doesn't say that. He says, the referee says 6 to go. Just wave 6 to go. And this, of course, this is part of the Raiders' problem, is they keep saying 6 to go over and over again. So on the weekend, you had this scenario where the button was doing itself. There was no 6 to go. And the ref, having hit, bing, 6 to go. No, last. Oh, no.
So if the referee's arm gets beyond the horizontal, it should automatically trigger it. But if we haven't got that technology, if we're not there yet, if we can't get a GPS in a ball, Stephen, to
Yes.
determine forward
You can
passes,
actually get that in your phone. That could actually be holding an
Now-
iPhone. And it's
But who do you
little
recommend
GPS and thing.
to be the button person?
Someone who cares zero about rugby league. And you were suggesting Peter Volandis, who
or
loves
Gladys
it.
Berejiklian.
Gladys has some interest because there's
Financial.
coin involved.
Yeah, of course.
And
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's poker machines.
Uses-
and
Yeah,
she's
involved
doing
in
the
league
temperatures
clubs.
anyway
Yeah.
at the front of the
Yeah.
ground.
Jodie
Yes, she's
Mackay.
busy.
Jodie Mackay. Have
Jodie
you ever heard
Mackay.
of Jodie Mackay?
Well, you can't be a Labor leader and not love rugby league. It's the law.
Oh, come
Jodie
on.
Mackay.
It's sign on.
It's
Jodie
2020,
Mackay
Stephen.
Bob
hates
Carr.
rugby league.
Okay, all right. Now,
Yeah.
losers lament. Did I not hear there was a huge forward pass? I was driving my car and they both just blew up instantly on a forward pass that was given a try. One of
yeah.
those classic moments on the weekend.
In the Canberra
Your
Eels
game.
Yeah, it was our game. So there was a forward pass which I It actually took me back to a Tigers game last year where we were standing on the 10-metre line in your corporate box. And Croker has clearly thrown this forward pass.
Yes.
And it's gone upstairs to check it was a knock-on. They're like, oh, no, it's not a knock-on. He's clearly past that. The fact that it went 45 degrees
no one
forward.
said
and it was
the
static,
next phrase. No.
They can't call a forward pass. So
you took
it was
it.
Dave Ray. Me and Dave Ray were going, they're going to call it a try. It shouldn't be a try. They're going to. We're on. So when that happened, I was like, Raiders going to win. You don't get
That
a
sort of
dub
luck.
try and then go ahead and lose.
No,
But
the
there was a
footy
get
gods
square.
are on your side then.
There was a get square. There was a huge get square where the ball went, and maybe it went, 2 degrees over the 10
Is that what happened to you the other night? Get square?
Oh, yeah. And it was called forward, and we're looking at it going, there's no way that was forward because, Whiten was sprinting and the ball's gone and he's gone back out of the hands. So the ref's gone, forward pass try, we'll just deny this try.
You know what I don't like about that story? The fact that I invited Dennis and Dave Ray to a game.
And we bonded.
And you bonded, yes.
And,
that
was
can
a
be a
beautiful
difficult
game.
issue. So, losers lament. Is it time to talk
Losers
about
bleat? Is that it?
losers bleat? Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Go. Look, I want to just say proudly, I'm happy that, really happy that a couple of the Roosters not just limped off nearly for the rest of the year.
Are you really... that much Schadenfreude going through your veins?
Petty and small and little that this happened to the mighty Roosters who are just driving us all spare at the moment, aren't they?
Can I give a shout out to Victor Von Doom, a.k.a. Victor Radley?
Yes.
Very disappointed for the kid, ACL injury, despite your joy. Sam Verrills as well.
Yeah.
But
What
how
happened?
good is the kid? I mean, he's lost his season, albeit off the back of 2 premierships, and he's filmed in the sacred space, which is the dressing room, and he stands up and a locker door is open and he
Crack.
bangs his head. Any other player, Corey Horsburgh, for example, 2 fingers, bawling their eyes out.
Chris,
Radley laughs.
Who won the game?
Roosters.
Who won the premiership last year?
Roosters.
Who won the premiership the year before?
Roosters.
Who won the world championship? Who
Both
cares?
times.
So I don't care.
Yeah,
don't care.
What you're saying
And-
is that he wasn't having a meeting.
Yeah.
He was having a party.
And what else do I take? I mean, I've got to get angry about something, right?
Yep.
And of
course you do.
Who's the mutt that throws his hands up in mock indignation?
Jake Friend.
Friend.
Jake Friend. Jesus Christ! Why can't he get injured? Is there a
Oh, he
God?
was out for most of last year.
Is there a God?
He was out for most of last year.
Apart from that, I think Luke Keary is just brilliant.
There you go. Look at that. Must kill you.
I hate it. But anyway,
What
I
I
think
love
we-
about Luke Keary, though, is he wants to play for Queensland, and under the rules pre-2012,
Yeah.
he will be a Queenslander. But because of my song, which changed the rules of selection policies,
Right,
he
he's-
now can't play for Queensland under any circumstances.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
To be honest,
And don't we love seeing a little bloke run around a big bloke?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And to be honest, we've loved him ever since he gave it to Russell Crowe up on Nana Glen.
That's
haven't
exactly
we?
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
talk about sacred spaces.
Nana Glen.
That place on the property
Well, has a church.
where Keary stood up to Russell,
Yeah.
they should put a plaque up there,
yeah.
and dare I say, a statue.
And guess what? He walked to the church. The doors opened automatically. The light came down. He was welcome. Russell was wrong.
he was welcome into Nick Politis' living room,
Yes,
which, let's face
exactly,
it, is
yeah.
like a church.
Now, that's the only thing I can take away from that game, except for the fact that I thought, well, hello, we're back. So I'm happy. Losers, bleep.
Oh, I got nothing to bleat about. I know. I stand with Corey. I was just in tears after the game, and I just want to give them all a finger. And,
Corey
all these-
Horsburgh.
and anyone sitting there saying, "Oh, Parramatta love," it's like, nah, double finger salute.
Yep.
It's what you get.
A, you're trying too hard.
Bawling.
And B, if I've ever heard the
Or
word...
too much arousal.
I've never heard the word
Over-aroused.
clunky used as much as I have about Canberra's offense
Who's
this
used
year.
that? Who's said
Everyone's
that?
describing your offense as clunky.
Oh yeah, it's clunky.
Clunky.
Well, that's the thing. I did feel that there were a few moments there where the Eels played the Raiders back into form, and I love that expression.
Hey, I did read a phrase this morning that
I'd hate to be
they
the
call him
Dragons.
Mr. Fix-It, James Maloney. Might be coming back from the Dragons,
Yes.
Catalan Dragons.
No, he's coming back to replace because the Raiders have now lost John Bateman. I almost forgot his name because he's just been
Jason
erased.
Bateman from Ozark.
John Bateman. No,
Oh, John Bateman,
Johnny
right.
Bateman. And there is talk that he's coming back to replace him at the Raiders.
Is that right?
I just made that
I
up.
heard that as come back for the Dragons, but anyway, whatever.
What
He's
was the
pretty
name
old,
of the,
though.
What was the name of the guy in American Psycho? No.
And one last question.
Jason.
Tell me that it can't be natural that the Morris Kiddies are doing so well. It goes against all the laws of nature.
If you start your career in the red and white of St George Illawarra,
Because your family is
The
royalty.
only way is up.
exactly. And if
2010, I remind you.
under what circumstances could you have possibly imagined that you would end up at Bondi Junction?
It's horrifying to think about, isn't it, really?
You know, it's like Jana Novotná.
What?
Jana Novotná's in the Wimbledon ladies singles final
Yep.
and has Steffi Graf on toast and then has the biggest collapse in the history of Wimbledon singles final and loses the title. And you would go, because you're both going, who? Right?
Yeah, that's right.
A few years later, against all odds, Novotny comes back and wins the title. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful story. Right now, the
Not
Morris...
as good as the kitty that won both AFL and Rugby League in one day.
Right now, the Morris brothers are a combination of Corey Horsburgh and Jana Novotny.
Is that right? Something weird going on there. I reckon there's going to be something coming. 60 Minutes are going to find something, Chris.
No, they won't.
Dennis.
Because Nick knows how to bury bodies.
Talking of Nick, it appears that he's got something on Craig Fitzgibbon.
Got to have something on Fitzgibbon.
Originally a dragon, Illawarra dragon, and he won't leave the club. Everybody wants him, he won't leave.
Again, the bodies. Nick
bodies.
doesn't just... He knows where the bodies are buried and he knows where to bury bodies.
Don't you tell me that Adam O'Brien's not sleeping with one eye open up at the Hunter Valley right now. But my great Craig Fitzgibbon story was when I flew with my mate JR to Suncorp Stadium to see, if you remember, the 2015 qualifying final where Brisbane kick off and Sean Kennydale fields the ball and double pumps and it's intercepted by Darius Boyd and it's all one-way traffic for the rest of the night. And we were seated right in front of the Roosters box.
Yeah.
And there was a drunk Brisbane fan
Giving it to
Deluxe to Robbo and Fitzgibbon and whatever all night. And then, of course, at the end of the game,
I wish I was there.
He's just standing there going side to side. And Robbo, being officiously and humbly, is just sort of putting his papers together and closing it. And Fitzgibbon goes up and double hand slaps the perspex like this and does the slit the throat sign to the fan.
Okay.
You got to love that passion. Nick's not going to let
That's
go
more
of that very easily.
bellyache, less Robbo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think let's go again. Craig Fitzgibbon is the perfect fusion of bellyache and Robbo.
Yeah.
He is the prototype coach that will take the game forward.
I did notice that your Mary McGregor, he had a bit of a go on the weekend at where it was Western Sydney. He was there and he was in the dressing room. He's actually gotten up.
Yes, he got the shits.
And he's walked out.
Yeah.
He's gone to Bellamy's corner.
Yeah.
Had to go to the bathroom.
Had a moment,
No, it was the Bellamy's corner. It was the back of the room where there's the
Fire's
the hatch.
back. Fire's back.
There's the hatch. You press the button, you get lower into
Could
the
you loan him that
silent
wig,
room.
please? Mary? I'd
that a
like to
wig?
see that. Oh, it's not a wig. On that note, is there anything else to add?
Go the Tigers.
Yeah.
I'm fired up for the Dragons this weekend. I'm fired up for the
Next week will be fun.
Dragons.
Okay.
Oh, yes, it will.
One thing we're pretty confident of, there will be a loser's bleat next week.
Oh, no. Thank you. See you later.
Bye now.
'Cause I'm all fired up. I'm all fired up and lonesome. I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm acting just a little too tough.